Howdy, welcome back to more Space Engineers, and today we're going to build a welding ship because I really could have used it while building the solar array, and we've got a lot more building to do. So come join me, we'll build that and a little bit more. Start today out on parking pad. Now, one of the first things we need to do is we need to actually reconfigure how things are parked. So we're going to move the blue swoosh over here. And I'm thinking right about here. I think this looks good. So we're going to grind this out. And we're going to dig down. Oops. Did a little bit of damage there. Alright, so we're right next to this pipe. Which is a good spot to be. We actually need to dig to the rest of the crawl space though. So we're going to turn our lights on. There we go. We're going to dig over to the other side of the crawl space. There we go. That's good. Now we're going to take this out.
Inventory full.
After we dump our inventory in here. Alright, and we need to grab enough stuff to create a straight piece, a T-junction, and a curved piece. We don't need to build a straight piece. We need to repair one that we just damaged. So we're going to grab that, and then enough stuff for a connector. And I didn't grab any of the stuff.
Inventory full.
That's alright. We'll pick it all up in a second.
Inventory full. Inventory full.
Alright. Now let's put in the conveyor pipes that we need. We need a straight piece. We need a T-junction. And we need a curve. And we need it to be going up. Alright.
Inventory full.
Now we're going to weld this all up. Okay. Now let's head back in. Alright, now we need a connector. And this will just allow us to move that blue swoosh out of the way. I decided to move this connector too, as well as the rotor. It's the same setup, just moved it over and back so that we can have a little bit nicer time trying to build this. And even at this, I'm not sure this is going to be enough space, although I think it is. So, we're going to see what we can do here. And I know, because of the design I'm going for, I want to be over a block. There. And we're going to start off, like most of these builds, with a connector. I need to put a block there first. That'll work, because it's just a temporary block. That actually needs to be up one and forward one. Alright, that'll work. Now we'll just get rid of that. Most of that's going to go away. Alright, now we've got our connector in place. We can actually get rid of this block here, and that's still good. Now, on top of that connector, we're actually going to be using something we haven't used before. We're going to be using these. And these are actually really critical for this design. For a utility ship or welding ship, there's a few things you need. You need lift, You need the ability to steer it, the tool, as well as some storage and a cockpit. It's a really simple ship that everybody should have. Now, we're going to turn it this way, and we're going to plop these on here. And the reason for that is because these welding utilities welding and grinding utilities, they're all stored underneath the grinder. But they all have the large small grid port. We're going to need it to be a large grid port there. First, we're going to put in the storage. For us, we don't care too much for being able to carry too much stuff, and the medium cargo containers are a nice small package, so we're going to use those. We're just going to slap our welders on there. Although I'm thinking, on this side, we might just do a grinder. Nah, we're going to stick with a welding ship. But if you decide you want a grinder, it's just that simple. Grind these off and put welders there. And we need power. Now, I don't need this ship to be sharing the inventory with anything, so that will work fine for us right there. And I'm going to put the gyros in now because I know I want the cockpit to be as high up as I can get it here. We're going to put the welders right here. Nope, wrong. I wanted them down one. We're going to put the gyros right here. And now we're going to add the cockpit. I guess I forgot to put on my bar. Right there. Now that's actually a pretty good little setup. You can see it's rather simple. We've got the large conveyor connections, and you've got the large grid connectors going all the way through. The reason you need the large connections is because there's a lot of components that won't fit through the smaller connections. If we come back over here and we look at this block here, these smaller connections on the left-hand side won't fit everything. Like steel plates won't pass through those. Neither will interior plates, and I think battery components, but I could be wrong on that one. But the connection on the right, that one will fit everything. So we want those conveyor connections going all the way through, which is why this block was placed in this orientation here, because now we've got the connector using a large port feeding into this one, which is placed this way, so that it's large ports all the way around, feeding into a medium cargo container with large ports, feeding into the tool with a large port on it. So, all large ports all the way through. Now, we don't plan on using this in a space where we don't have oxygen, because we're on the Earth-like planet. So, we just put the batteries between the cockpit and the inventory. That should be enough. Just those two large small grid batteries should be plenty. Now, you might be carrying a lot of stuff, so there are some things you have to consider. I want large grid thrusters, or sorry, not large grid, large thrusters on here. And 2 large thrusters is probably overkill. Almost definitely overkill. But that is what I want. So that's what we're using. And I'm thinking for the side thrust, back and forth thrust, we're just going to use small thrusters. Actually, before we get the thrusters done, let's go ahead and throw the landing gear in there, because it's going to be in the way. Now for the landing gear, I want the landing gear in the center of my in the center of my medium cargo containers. There's some reasoning behind that, and I could explain it all, but mainly it's just I want the support to be spread out. Most of the cargo weight in this thing is going to be sitting right on top of those. Alright, so we've got just about everything done, and I can't add much more before welding this up. So, we're going to weld all this up, and then we'll be right back. Alright, so we've got this all welded up, and now we need to switch over to our other toolbar and pull up the thrusters. Now, this is maybe not the most ideal setup for these thrusters, but I rather like it. We're just going to put 3 of them right here, and same on the other side. Got our forward-facing thrust right here. Right. And then in the back, now that we've got everything out welded up, shouldn't matter what we're about to do, but we're going to add those 4 thrusters, and we're going to separate this. There we go. So we've got thrust in all directions now. 4 thrusters forward and backwards, 3 on either side, and 2 facing up. Now, we also need another block that, I also forgot to pull this one out on the bar. Go ahead and we'll grab it. We need the remote. Alright, and we want the remote control to go right there. But, can't yet. So we're going to place the antenna. Place it right there. Now we'll place the remote, which should be... Oh, I just don't have any interior plates. Okay. There we go. Make sure it's facing forward. Now, we're also going to want to bury this, but we'll do that afterwards, because it'll be hard to weld everything up if we bury everything right now. So, that's all the thrusters. Let's go ahead and we'll just weld that up real quick. Be able to grab the components out of here. We can. Alright, now that that's all welded up, there's one more thing that I want. I want a landing gear in the back between these 2 thrusters. So we're just going to place a block there. Just like so. Weld those up real quick because they just take a second. Alright, and let's go ahead and we'll put a landing gear in. Right there. And that is just so that the landing gear is sitting on the ground rather than the thrusters. And there we go. That's pretty much it. That is pretty much everything we need on a welding ship. So let's hop in here. I said hop in here. We're going to take all of these thrusters that are on this ship and make sure they're off. Alright, this looks pretty good. I'm rather happy with this. Now, we're going to come in and we are going to, first and foremost, disconnect the connector. Just by doing unlock. Now we're going to go to the grid info and we're going to name it. What do we want to name this? I'm thinking that we can name it B.U.G. And that's short for Butt Ugly Grid. Now, that will give us just about everything we need. Now, we're just actually going to sit in the cockpit while I rename everything because it's all got to be renamed and grouped. And I'm just going to append bug to all the parts. Right, we've got everything renamed and grouped. So, I also made another change. No longer just B.U.G, it's the B.U.G. So, because it is the But Ugly grid. Now, this is all set. This is all fine and dandy. We just need to set up the bar now. We're going to come in here and, oh, I meant to hit G. And the first thing you're going to want to put on there is going to be the block tools. And block tools is going to be same as we did with the vertical miner. You want to grab that welder and put it right there. Now your grouped blocks, we are going to want the landing gear here, switch lock. We want the batteries set to charge. Where's it at? Recharge. And we want the Atmos. Yeah, we want the Atmos there. Toggle block on off. And gyros. Toggle block on off. Now we're going to come up here and the last block on here is going to be switch lock on the connector. I think that's pretty good. Just throw the antenna down here for good measure. And there's a couple of changes I forgot to make. So, the antenna, we don't need 5 kilometers. We need something like 50 or 100. We'll round it off, go 75. We just need to be able to access that remote if we fall out of the ship without hydrogen. Alright, and what was the other thing I forgot? We need to set these to recharge. And we need to dock up. Alright. Now there's a couple of things I actually forgot, neglected to add to this. You're going to want to be able to weld at night. You're going to need some lights. And for this, we've got plenty in our inventory already, I believe. We don't have interior plates. Which I can't remember if we need interior plates for these or not. I'm going to grab some. Now, I'm thinking we don't really need forward-facing lights too much. What we do need, though, is we need lights around it. We're going to come in and we're going to place lights all around it. So we can have a good, well-lit area around this thing. Alright, weld those up. Missing the bulletproof glass in those, but that's okay because they are functional without the glass, unlike a real light bulb. Alright, that's everything all put together. So we'll just come in here and we'll grab our lights and we will rename those as well. Alright, now that we've got those named and fixed on here, we can actually come in here and we can say we want the bug surrounding lights on off. We want the bug headlights on off. Alright, this thing is all set and ready to go. Now we need to check the charge on our batteries. And our battery is fully charged. Alright, now we've got our welding ship. And we're going to need this. We are really going to need this. And this would have helped us so much building that. But this whole area back here, this is going to be a whole factory. And we'll get started on that in the next episode. But for now, we got what we need to be able to get this thing working and actually doing work for us. Right, so we're heading out to the solar panel because it occurred to me that I hadn't done anything to show you why we'd want that welding machine. So, let's do some damage. Alright, so we can see that a couple of those are broken now. So, let's go fix them. Alright, and I can't tell how many I broke, but I broke a substantial amount. So we're just going to actually come in here and we're going to put 8 of those things for repair on my bar. Let's come in here and we will grab the solar panels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, I know I need to repair a bunch of them. We're going to come in here, and if we were to come in here and we were to try and just move all that stuff over here, there's no way we could fit it all. However, because, here, let me show you. We can only hold 78 of those, and we're full. I guess I don't need these either. But we'd be full. And that's just the solar panels. So, we'll just come in here, we'll type in bug, and all we're seeing is the bug inventory now. So now we hit that, and it moves all the components over to the bugs inventory. Throw some steel plates in there for good measure. And we can just take off and go fix that. Oh yes, and if you caught it, I forgot to weld that light up. That has been fixed, and it's been added to the group on the bar. So, we're just going to unpark it. There we go. Now we can just lift right off. Now let's go repair that. You can see it's sparking and throwing a fit. It's not happy. I find it's easier to repair things if you're in the cockpit view. Just hit 1 to make sure the tool is active. Then you come over here and you just get close to it and start welding. That's all repaired up. That's all repaired up. There we go. Those are all repaired. This would have been so much easier to build had I had this ship while I was trying to build it. And I really think that if you're planning on any major building, you should build one of these. They will come in super handy. Because yeah, your jetpack can fly around, but the trips back and forth for an inventory change, and the speed of your hand welder versus the speed of the ship, hands down, the ship is the way to go. Let's park it up. All right, there we go. So that's why you need this thing. And I've found it to come in pretty handy. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, hit that button. If you didn't, you know where the other button's at. If you want to see the next episode where we actually expand the base, be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button and check back for the next video. Y'all have a good rest of your day. See ya.